would you rather come across a random man or a random bear in the woods? We're not going to debate it. I just want your answers.
Say the answer.
Would you rather come across a random man or a random bear in the woods?
Random man.
Random bear.
Bear.
Into the mic, please.
Man.
Sorry, bear.
Oh, man.
Man.
Okay, you three said
Bear.
Bear.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quick, just short. I won't debate it. Just why?
Because animals don't lie and men do.
But they kill you.
Okay. What about you?
I really, really love bears, and I don't really like man.
But you're with. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, yeah, the bear could kill me, but also the man. So like, but the man can, yeah. I just
Right.
Yeah.
They could essay. They could murder you. They could torture. Whatever. Okay. So I do want to ask on that.
By the way, the base side of the table said man. I just want to point that out.
Sure. So the question here is, so given this sort of fear that you guys have of men, to the point that you'd rather be in a forest, come across a random bear in the woods, what percentage of men do you think would opt to victimize you in this situation? So if we're plucking a random man out of the population, what percentage? Starting with you.
Well, he's in the woods, so that's not very random.
Okay,
but
hold on. So here's the scenario. It's randomly plucking you. So it's not like, why is he in the woods? Doesn't matter. The hypothetical, it's a random man. You both get plucked, dropped in the woods.
I'm going to go with 75% chance it's not going to go well for me.
So, okay.
Judging by the sexual assault statistics for women. 75% of us, by the time we get to college, have been assaulted. So it's
Okay.
just statistics.
Hold on. I'll repeat the question just one more time. So what percentage of men do you think in the circumstances would choose to victimize you?
75%.
Okay.
I would say 50%.
Yeah, I was gonna say 50 as well.
Okay, so the population of men in the United States, I believe, is 160 million. 50% of that is 80 million. You'd think that 80 million men in the United States would murder you or essay you?
Oh yeah.
Oh, come on.
I only think one in the woods, one-on-one. I'm not talking about all of them together. It's just a 50%
Right.
Well, yeah, but
chance.
that's still a big
That's
number.
a lot.
It's a 50-50 chance, just like
It is true.
yeah, and with a
He's
bear,
either going to do something or he's not.
yeah, it's literally it. He's
With
either
the
going to do
bear,
it
it's
or
about
he's
the
not.
same,
She
but
thinks
I would
it's
rather get mauled by a
75%.
bear at this point. I'm
So that
over
means
it
that
with
one
the
of
men.
these two is gonna kill one of you right now.
That's literally what you're saying.
That's literally
Yeah.
what you're saying.
Again, we are talking about the situation where two people are randomly are in the woods. Just two random people who don't know each other.
We're talking about
One
a
is me.
population of men, like, and you're saying exactly half of them will kill you.
Well, listen
I'm
to the
saying that
logic.
there's
He's
a
either going to
50-50.
attack or he's not.
There's
That's
no
what he's
logic.
saying, right?
At all.
Okay.
So, guys, we
No,
have
I
to
was
move it
trying to
on.
make
It's
a
like it's
point.
5 in the morning
And
over here.
that was my point.
Yeah, damn near.
Yeah,
I would say less than 10%.
I just, the numbers I think are astounding. I think it's absolutely astounding, the numbers we get, but I so want to argue it now.
Just go for
I so
based
want to
women.
argue it.
Okay.
That's my advice.
Okay, I think perhaps I misunderstood the question. Are you specifically saying how many men overall I think have the potential to do that?
What's the percentage?
You're literally saying half would do that to you.
No, specifically in that situation, there's a 50-50
Yes,
chance.
In that
but
situation, yes.
specifically, but that was exactly the question.
Yeah, that's what she
that
said.
is a
50%.
lot.
Yeah, but that is specifically in that exact situation.
Because
One
it's-
on one.
Yeah, it either goes left or right.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that person is coming from a pool of men.
Yeah,
So
but
what
I don't
percentage
know what
is
pool.
what's the possibility of that man doing that?
I would say out of the pool of men that this particular person would be the person to do something bad, I would say about 30%.
That's crazy. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, I have
would do that.
because I have gone through a lot of stuff.
I have too, but
Yeah.
we can't say that. Well, I personally can't say. I would say like less than 10%, and that's like more on the 5% side.
It's not even
At least I'm not
close.
saying 50 anymore.
It's not even going to be 5%. It's
No,
still
yeah, it's just
like
not.
if you guys think about what it is scalably, do you understand what it would look like if there was $100 million in $1 bills on that table, what that would look like. You can't actually envision it because it's so much. You can't really envision it. You're saying that out of 150 million men, that you think that 30% of them
If they
would
got
do
a
something
chance.
bad to you if they happen to be in a forest with you alone.
Yes.
Why?
Because
Why in the world would
that's
you
at
ever
least
assume
how
that?
many men are lying to us on dates and saying that they want to get married and have kids and they
what
don't
does that
or whatever.
have to do with
Because
anything?
liars are liars. You can't
But
trust
you
them.
also lie. So in that
You
same
can't trust
logic,
them.
you can also are going to be that person that
Whatever,
will take
if you want to
advantage.
say
good
that.
point.
But I'm
Alright.
saying that
That's a good
men
point.
maliciously lie in order to get a certain
You
agenda
got fake
done with a
titties,
woman.
bro.
You maliciously lied to
I
get
understand
burritos.
You're
that.
lying about your
But
titties.
for the most part, men are coming from me and taking my sexual energy. You could say whatever you want. Maybe I mismarketed and they thought I was this
I thought this wasn't
virgin,
gonna be
and
a
then
debate.
they've come to find out I'm not.
yes. I'll move it on. But just know that me and Andrew would absolutely smoke you guys on this if we had the time. Okay, just no offense, but we would,
Yeah,
rebuke and rebut, and we would own you with facts and logic.
And we could give you personal
We could give you
experiences.
personal experience,
But
and
that
all the
doesn't-
women who
that
don't
doesn't-
speak up about the stuff that happened.
Personal
Always
experience
traps.
and facts
Always
and studies
trumps.
will always
Facts,
trump.
logic, and
Well,
reason.
that's stupid
Your
because-
personal
It's not
experience
stupid.
is appeal to
It's
that.
realistic.
Well, when your
It's
daughters
science.
get abused because you guys were
Okay,
fucking
alright.
ignorant, I mean, it is what it is.
Okay,
You're the
okay,
one
okay.
showing them
Okay, man.
sexual things.
Okay,
Like
It's no real life, so they're prepared
I know
for it.
real life because I'm living it
Silence.
right now. This is real.
Silence in the courtroom. Okay, jeez.
Did you have an English accent?
Yes, I did.
Hit the gavel. Just do it. Just do it
I
for the
did.
fun of it.
What's
Wait.
the
Okay, hold on. Three more questions. Okay. Who's physically stronger, men or women?
Men.
Men.
Man.
Into the mics,
Men.
guys.
men?
Okay, just had to check. I had to double check.
Okay,
Who's the primary victim of war, men or women?
Primary victim of war?
Yes.
Who's the primary victim of war?
Men.
Everybody.
I mean,
Straighten your mic, please.
man.
Men.
Women.
Men.
Wait, women, you don't know everybody?
I said man.
Oh, you said men. So women,
Women.
everybody.
Yeah.
Men.
Just curious, why women?
Because men are the ones that. So if men are going to war and then the women are back home by themselves, they're going to be more vulnerable without a male figure. I believe so. And let's just say in a world where most men got annihilated from war in a different country, and now this country is just majority women, we are going to be more vulnerable naturally. So.
But wouldn't, okay, let me ask you a question. Certainly, perhaps it would be catastrophic to that country if all the men were wiped out. The women would be more vulnerable. But wouldn't some of the women thrive?
I'm sure, yeah, of course, there's going to
Okay.
be some. Right.
So if some women are thriving, some women have it average, and then some women are suffering, but all the men are dead?
Well, I could say the same.
Wouldn't-
I could say the same thing. It's like, well, some men are gonna die, but what if?
Well, you just, the example you gave is all the men died.
Okay.
So they'd be.
That's true. Hang on. You're right. That's true. You could give the
Another very small
counterexample the same
town
exact
would
way, but
cure
that
it.
would still make Brian's point.
Wait,
And
let
it
me-
depends
Hold on,
on if you
wait.
think that death is the worst case scenario. I think just being alive and
Oh, boy.
suffering
Okay,
could
I
be
do
worse.
Okay, well, I do have to ask this question then. It is a bit heavy, but so would you, and I'll open it to the whole panel, starting with you, would you rather be essayed once or killed?
Yeah.
I
already
said
been.
once.
That's already happened to me. So.
Been there, done that.
At this
We don't
point,
need personal anecdotes, just answer the question.
At this point, just kill me now. If it happens again, I'm done.
Yeah, okay.
But I thought you could have no emotional connection with them.
Go,
I'm just done with getting abused, to
stop.
be honest.
Go ahead.
Essay.
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 I'd rather, Andrew, would you rather? I'd rather be essayed. I can.
If it was by a man, then I would choose death.
Don't,
if it was by a
Andrew, don't
woman,
say that.
Okay.
There you go.
Same.
Oh,
I
convinced.
concur.
Lawyered.
I'm going to
Lawyered.
take that. Andrew, see, I need you.
Submissive Andrew.
Why does
Just
it?
kidding.
Why does it affect you so much if sex isn't really like that? It's just sex. Like I'm
No,
curious.
that's an
Wait,
assault
that
against
was
my
just a-
soul,
that was just a
and
better-
I'm over
okay.
it. At this point, I would like to die and leave my legacy that I've written books, and sometimes you gotta die to get a point across. You
That
do what you gotta
doesn't
do.
even make any sense. But anyways, just for the sake of moving things on. Okay, so war, everybody, into the mic, please.
Yeah, war is horrible on the whole society.
Everyone. So okay, but the question is, I should have just kind of pushed on this initially when asked the question. The question is, who is the primary victim of war, men or women? The question does not give you an option of saying everyone. So if you had to choose one, which do you choose?
You know what? It's the men because of the traumas that they are stuck with after all that, even if they live.
Wait, so going to you, World War I, who's the primary victim of World War I for you? How do we do, that works?
I guess I would say.
You said woman.
I don't know.
To the
I guess
general
I would.
question.
I guess I would still say to women.
Okay.
Women
What about World War II?
Woman.
Vietnam?
I would just say women all around.
The Ukraine War?
Yeah.
Well,
even Palestine.
Ukraine was very
Israel.
modern, and I have some information on the Ukraine War.
Okay, but before you say that, can you say women?
Women.
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 Yeah, instead of woman.
Women.
You keep on saying woman as plural, like women.
Women.
Women in here.
Women. Yeah,
Women.
Women.
All right.
It's my Spanish. And
So, let me ask you just one more time. So in the Ukraine.
Oh, no. It's not your Spanish. Hang on. We have plural in Spanish too for mujer, right? We know what plural is in Spanish too, right?
yes, Andrew, you're right.
All right.
Okay, so I'm trying to wrap this up here.
Why
So
cigarettes? I gotta ask.
hold on, no. Hold on. Okay, so
What's wrong with cigarettes? You
What?
know, you start smoking. Helps with the brain.
No, it doesn't.
actually, I saw this video. Actually, people who smoke cigarettes, it actually does. You know,
Stop it.
that.
Don't even.
It's
don't
true.
even. Just stop.
Maybe nicotine, if
The
anything.
nicotine-
Well, yeah, the nicotine. That's
Anyways,
But
okay.
just like
Yep.
not the tobacco.
So, Ukraine war. Who's the primary victim of the Ukraine war, men or women?
I still believe women.
Okay, so Nick, could you pull up that photo? Do you know which one? Make sure it's the blurred one. Do you know what I'm talking about, Nick? Okay, so and there's also news articles. You can fact check me on this. But so when the Ukraine war broke out, all the men had to stay in the country. Like they could not leave. So from the age of 18 to it was either 60, 65, they had to remain in the country.
Right.
All the women of any age could flee the country. Oh wait, hold on, Nick. All the women could flee the country.
Okay.
So evade the war. They couldn't be drafted into the war. They could leave. So all the men could stay. Maybe not all the men had to get involved in the war effort, but a lot did. A lot got drafted. The women could go off to Romania. They could go off to London. They could go to Stockholm. They could be up in the club doing all this shit. Pull up the photo, Nick. So, on the left, you have Ukrainian women who were screenshotted on, I believe it's primarily Tinder, a dating app, trying to get dick in various countries that they fled to. On the right, you have, well, I don't want to say it, but you have the casualties of war. Seeing this photo, women clubbing, partying, trying to get dick down by dudes in Stockholm.
What did you want her to do?
Desperation.
Hold on. Loneliness and desperation. Okay, so
I didn't say loneliness.
okay, whatever. So, knowing that there are thousands or hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of Ukrainian women who went to Stockholm and went to go fuck hot Swedish dudes, and they're on Tinder, and then comparing it to the other photo, does that change your view at all on this?
No, because although that they are victims to death, like obviously that's horrible, and I do believe that men still have the responsibility of protecting. And but this is going back to, not to bring back to you, but it's like those women are now without a male figure. Now they probably have kids. They're desperate. They're trying to do they go into sex work, or they're looking to survive. And now not only are they victims, but now the children are victims to just more brokenness and all this debauchery.
Are you sure you're not a feminist?
Ew, no.
Well, that's
Are you
very
sure?
that's a
Because
very
that's
guy.
not
Hold on.
feminist. I was thinking that.
Hold on.
No, I don't. I feel.
Wait,
I
stop,
feel,
stop.
okay.
Your view is a very gynocentric one. It's very woman-centered, woman-focused. How could it not be the case when I use the word primary, which has a meaning? How can it not be the case Now, if I grant you that it would be absolutely devastating to, for example, a wife of a soldier, and that soldier died in war, if I grant you that it would be devastating to her and she would be hurt and distraught, couldn't you at least grant to me that dying is worse than being distraught and coping with the death of a loved one?
Yes, but I'm also not just looking at that. Look at the Palestine and Israel on both ends, all the kids and the mothers that are...
Okay, but let's keep it... Okay.
But that's still valid, right? That is still... They're still being victims to war that men are...
Okay, fine. I'll even argue this point. Even in the Israel-Palestine conflict, the men are still the primary victims of war, even in this conflict.
Well, I mean,
in fact, the men are the primary victims of war in every single conflict.
But wait, hold on. But
the
then
men
you
are
hate
the
when
ones
people
who
say
started. Women aren't out here declaring war.
But hold on. But you people that are like you, they like to argue that, oh, feminists are victims and like that victim mentality, right? So why can't you use that same logic with men? Like, isn't that your guys' duty to protect us women?
Is it wrong to say that somebody dying, they're not a victim?
They are a victim, but also what about the kids and the children that are also... Hold on.
No, let me address. Hold on. No, hold on. See,
let's talk.
Hold on, stop. So when feminists make... Stop. Everybody stop. Goddamn. Stop. Holy fuck. Jesus Christ. You guys are... Stop. Holy fuck. Let me talk. The reason feminists are criticized when it comes to their victimhood mindset, their victim mindset, is because they'll complain about things like manspreading and mansplaining and these sorts of benign and arbitrary things. Because the grievances, and granted, I do think there are actually legitimate grievances that women face. However, feminists will often they will either exaggerate or there will be a hyperbole. They'll present false information when it comes to their supposed victimhood status. And then they'll also just complain about just the most benign, ridiculous shit like the wage gap, mansplaining, manspreading. Okay? So that's where the criticisms come for.
Yeah.
So you can't then use that as justification to be like, well, why are you calling men victims when they fucking die in war? I apologize if I come off as a snowflake for holding the position that men dying in war makes them victims.
They are victims, but also, like, looking at it from a dark perspective, like, okay, they die and then it ends there. Now let's just hold on, wait. So with my church, there's a ministry where we go to Africa. Hold on, real quick. You're trying to leave?
Just say your point. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so there's a ministry at church where we go, well, I don't, but my church goes out to Africa and looks over the widows and the children that are left alone because the men have to go to war and they're just left in villages and they're left without food, they're left without everything. So if we're going to be approaching this from a traditional standpoint that that's their responsibility. I'm not saying they're not victims, but they are going to war to protect their women and children, and then okay, they die. It's horrible. I'm not saying that's right, but now the victims that are still living are the women and children that are having to... I don't agree with what these Ukrainian women are doing, but if anything, it just shows how much more broken they get without the male leader in the frame. You don't have to agree, though. I see what you're saying. They're victims. They're dying. That sucks. But the children in the rubble.
What about the woman?
The children and the women in the rubble right now, as we speak, those are victims that are still alive and breathing because of war.
Yes. Okay. So if I can acknowledge that war has a negative impact on children and women, I can acknowledge that. However, the men who are dying are the primary victims of war.
Yeah, but I think you're thinking I'm coming from a feminist point, but I'm actually making a point that men are much more, I can almost say more important than women, that they hold such a valuable value in the whole family unit that when they die, it impacts the family immensely.
Well, if they're more important than women, wouldn't their death be more important than the suffering of...
It makes much more of a
more
suffering.
treasured, yeah.
Because more people are being affected without their leadership and without their protection even more.
And the wife has to care for the
Okay,
kids
so
on
hold
her
on. Let me
own.
ask you a question. Let's assume that, I don't know what the death toll is in the Ukraine conflict, but let's assume in World War II that 5 million of the men that died in World War II were single. They did not have a spouse. They did not have a wife. They did not have any children. Maybe they had a father, mother, brothers, sisters. I'll grant that. Knowing this, those 5 million men that didn't have a spouse, didn't have kids, are those men then the primary victim of war?
I guess in that situation, no.
Wait, even in that situation, still no.
Really?
No, I'm saying no, like no on my argument. Like no, wait, hold on. So if that for the situation you just gave me, no, then if there's no women or children involved, then yeah, I guess the men are more victim in that situation.
Well, what about the father and the mother and brothers and sisters?
They have to deal
Aren't
with
they
that
going to
death.
suffer too?
Sorry,
I mean,
there's
just
a victim.
everybody freaking suffers. I don't know. This is like a hard question, but the thing is, you think that you guys just think straight out it's the men are more victims and that
Yeah,
than
they're the
the,
ones
Yes, every
They're
military
dying.
There's
conflict,
the ones-
every
their
military
lives.
but there
conflict.
there are also women
they know
that
there's
are
a
Yes.
chance that
more.
they'll never come back to their
Yes.
families. So yeah,
Yeah,
Hold
and,
on.
and
Wait,
there's
wait,
a
wait.
domino
They have
effect, but
to
there's a
go
domino
sometime.
effect
Well,
from
then
that.
I'll make a deal with you.
Brian.
How about women go and fight all the wars and men stay at home, and then we
Hell
can
no.
say that we're equally
No, I'm not for
victims to
that.
you?
I'm not for that. I believe that men should be out fighting the war, and it's unfortunate
have
that
to.
I have a
they are
message
the
for you
ones
that's
that
coming
are
through.
being
There's a
victims
message.
to
Yeah, I
it.
know, but
And
let's
there's a
assume for, hang on, let
repercussion
us
in
assume for a
society
second
as
women
well.
hang on, but let us assume for a second women were the ones out fighting the wars while men stay at home.
We'd be so messed
Would
up.
you? Yeah, would you say though that women or men then would be the primary victim of war?
This is crazy.
Okay, wait. So if all women were out in war,
would we be
If the women
victims?
fought the wars instead of the men, and the men stayed home, would you say that?
no.
Then
I think the
that
women now
that
would
the
be
women,
the women
yeah,
would be the
would the
victim
women be
because the men can
primary
figure it
victims of
out.
war?
They're leaders. They'll be back home figuring
Yeah,
things
but they're
out.
gonna
I
have a
don't
leadership
think.
role if they're not fighting.
Hold on.
Well, I know. I don't agree with that, but we're just giving the circumstance. If we were to switch it for whatever reason, then yeah, no.
Wait,
would
so
the women then be the primary victims of war?
Still,
If they were out, yes, because I believe that men could be at home figuring it out. I don't
So
believe
then-
they should be
so then
staying at
if
home.
Women were the primary victims of war in that scenario. Then if you reversed it to men,
Yeah,
then
because we'd
men
be
should
so
the
messed up,
primary
women would
victims
be
of
so
war. You
weak.
see how that works?
No. Because if we were, it'd be a lose-lose situation that way. Because if all women were to go to war, we'd be messed up. And if the men were just had to stay back home, no. Like I don't believe that would work.
I don't know if this is making sense logically to me, but
maybe
Okay,
it's just
so
late.
so here, let me make it make sense. If by your answer you
I
say
have
if
something
women
good.
went to war
I got something
instead
good.
of men, they'd be the primary victims of war. But you say when men go to war instead of women, they're not the primary victims of war. That makes no fucking sense to me at all.
Well, I can't. That logic doesn't stand because I'm thinking that men should be going out to war because they are supposed to be protecting us and stuff like that. And if we were to switch it, I still in my head I'm like, well, they will figure it out. They're leaders and stuff. So, but if they're back at home and their wife is dead, but the logic doesn't work because real leaders wouldn't be in that position anyways. They'd be out in war.
I actually have. I think I have a something here, Andrew. Unless you want to have a bit more.
Well, I mean, I'll just finish it with this. So the insertion of the hypothetical is to test the logic, right? So if you're asking who's the primary victim of war, if we just reversed it and said, well, women go to war instead of men, and you say that women then would be the primary victims of war,
No.
then it should stand to logic that if you reversed it so men went, that men would be the primary victims of war.
No.
You understand that, right?
No, I understand what you're saying, but no, because my argument is that because. Go ahead, Brian.
I think I have a smoking gun here.
All right,
and
go
Andrew,
ahead,
I want
fire
you
it
to
out.
let me know if you think this is a little smoking gun. I asked you a question earlier, and I think I asked, would you rather be essayed or killed, correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, oh boy, okay.
I think I know where you're going
hold
with
on.
this, but
So, if you were to be essayed, are you the primary victim or is your husband the primary victim?
Because he has to deal with you dealing with that trauma.
I mean, but that's not the same thing. Those are two different scenarios because both people are
Yeah,
still alive.
we agreed. They're two different scenarios, but in good faith,
Okay.
are you the primary victim or is he?
I think I would be the primary victim.
Right, you'd be the primary victim.
Now, but here's the thing. When I asked you the question, my understanding is you categorize this, death is worse than SA.
Death is worse.
You
than
said
SA.
you said you
I
would
just don't want to
rather-
die. I've been sexually assaulted, so I'm okay with that.
But so you said that death is worse than SA.
No, I'm not saying that.
That's-
I'm just
That's-
choosing.
That's what
I,
he said.
That we've already been.
no, I did not say that.
But
I
if-
did not
if-
say that.
But we have to choose. Like,
But you-
which
But
one.
had
it's not
to
because
choose.
I think it's better. It's just I already done it, so I'm alive right now. Why would I want to die?
That's what I'm saying. Because you wouldn't want
But
to.
if, hold on, I'm a little confused here.
Okay, so if presented with the choice between SA or death, if you had never been SA'd, which would you choose?
Well, it's hard because I'm biased. I'm SA. Because
Yeah, but assuming that
okay,
you
SA.
weren't.
SA.
Well, you already answered
SA,
that.
okay, SA. So then if that's the case, under those conditionals, then you're saying that death is worse. And if women are the primary victims of war based around the fact that they could potentially be SA'd, and death is worse and more men die than women, then it would stand to reason then that men were the primary victims of war. Is that not the argument, Brian?
No, because I'm still standing on that. The fact that the men are dying is affecting and having a domino effect on the women and the children left behind.
So the people that are dying aren't victims.
They are victims, but I don't believe that the primary because they're dead and it sucks. But now the people that are living with the consequences are the women and the children.
Got it. Okay.
They're dying
so
to the
let's
women and
test,
children.
So just real quick, we'll test
Think
that
about
too.
all the single moms
Hang
with
on, hang
children.
on, hang on. Abandon.
Okay.
Would you choose abandonment or choose death?
Abandonment.
Okay. Would you choose poor economic conditions or would you choose death?
Poor economic conditions.
Okay. Well, then, under all circumstances which you have stated that the domino effect would fall on the women and children, then this means that men who die in war still have it worse than women. Therefore, we can conclude that men have it worse than women when it comes to war. Correct?
I guess. Yes.